Yeah. Hi, everyone. I'd like to welcome everybody to Entrepreneur Social. I'm Francesca. I'm the intern here for the next month at Genius Cafe. And tonight we're going to be talking about finding your passion and whatever Lisa decides to talk about. But I'd like to give a warm welcome to Lisa, and everybody give her a round of applause.
Thank you, Francesca. Thank you. And thank you also to Santi for inviting me to speak tonight. And thank you for you guys for turning up. This is really awesome. I think those of you that might know that the two previous talks I've done, the first one, it rained so heavily that nobody could get in, and the only people here were the people who couldn't get out. So they weren't here for the talk at all. And the second one I did was actually for to stand in for somebody else. So again, we didn't have much of an audience. So I really appreciate you guys taking time out to come and see me tonight. And how awesome is this to be on the opposite side? This is awesome. So first of all, just a little bit about me. I've been living in Bali since October last year. I'm a mindset coach. I help people really start to look at what their purpose is in life, because so many of us actually don't live our purpose. So just want to introduce you to, see if we get this one to work. Oh, no, it's not that one. Give it a click. Which button? Are we going to take which? The mouse? Ah, that mouse. We got a real mouse. No, it's still not working. There we go. Oh, there we go. Oh, she's thinking about it. So this one, we'll go back. Gotta love technology. I want to introduce you to Elise. Elise was created after one of my clients described me as a cross between Mary Poppins and a Jedi Knight. And you know when things just evolve organically, this amused me. It really did amuse me, because there was a bit more to the description than that, but it just it's meant to look like me. Oh, I don't know about the eyes, but so yeah, there's somebody. I just put on Facebook about this because it really amused me, especially with the rest of the description. And within minutes, and I mean less than 5 minutes, somebody had pulled a caricature of a Mary Poppins type person with a laser, like this, pretty much like this. And I went, oh my goodness! So I made a comment on that, and within less than a week, she was created. It just happened very organically. And from there, we created a comic strip, and there will be more comic strips to come from that. And from there, as things happen, there's actually going to be, eventually will be a full-blown cartoon movie. And her purpose is to actually help me get these skills and these tools across to the world, because my mission and purpose, and we're going to be talking about purpose tonight, but my mission and purpose is to inspire and empower others to create individual and global abundance so that everyone in the world has access to everything that they need and want. And I don't know about you, but life is pretty serious for many people. Not so much here in Bali, and I appreciate that we're talking a little bit different here. We're pretty laid back here, but for most of us, and just even listening to Francesca talking about school back in America, it's pretty frantic and life is pretty heavy. And I'm a big believer in working with the energy, and fun is a high energy. So if we're having fun, we're on a high energy, and if we're on a high energy, we're going to start getting the things out of life that we want. When we're on a low energy, serious, focused, heavy energy, we're only going to bring in more serious, heavy, focused energy. And who the heck wants that? The world's got enough of that as it is. So I believe we have a responsibility to have more fun. And Elise is my colleague in this journey. Let's make sure we get this one. Okay, so we're going to talk really on a couple of things, but how to uncover or start uncovering your purpose. Who here actually knows what their purpose is? 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, awesome. I knew I was speaking to the converted. Okay, so there's got a couple that haven't. There was an exercise that I wanted to take you through, and those of you that know the purpose, you might not want to play, but I'm going to invite you to play anyway. So let's do it. So those of you that want to come on a little journey with me, just close your eyes, take a deep breath, just relax. And just imagine that you have $1 billion in your bank account. Now, before you jump up and down and say, I don't need that much money, just play along with the game. It's not about needing that much money. It's about what having that money will give you in time and money. It'll allow you to do the things that you want. So you've got $1 billion in the bank. So if you've got $1 billion in the bank, you've already got the house or the houses that you want. So just notice what those houses are like. These are your dream homes. You're driving the car that you want. You have all the toys that you want, whether that's boats, bikes, helicopters, airplanes, whatever it is. You already have all those tools. And you still have $1 billion in your bank account. So what would you like to do with that money? You've got to the point you really don't need any more toys. You have everything you need, and yet something is still missing. Maybe you have a desire to give back to community. Maybe you have a desire to make a difference in the world. And if you do, what could you do with that money? Would you be working with children? Would you be working with animals? Would you be working with food security, building water holes? What would you be doing if you had that much money? Now you can keep that $1 billion in the bank for now. But when you feel ready, just bring yourself back and just think about what it is that came to your mind. Now, did you have one idea, and then as we developed, you changed it to something else? That's quite common, and there's nothing wrong with that. Those of you that already know your purpose, was there any variation or any evolution of your purpose, or was it still the same? Yeah? Another purpose got added to it. Beautiful. So it wasn't a wasted exercise after all. That's fantastic. It's a beautiful exercise to do on a regular basis because we do evolve and things do change. And I know my purpose has evolved from what it was originally. Although the goal is still the same, there's a little bit of difference about getting there. So hopefully you all got a little sense of what it is you might like to do if you had all the money and time in the world. Because if you've got $1 billion in the bank, you've got all the time in the world, yeah? You don't need to rock up at your 9 to 5. So that would just give you a little bit of an indication as to what your purpose might be. Now, there's another really powerful exercise, and we haven't got time to go through it tonight, but if anybody's interested, let me know and I'll email it to you. I'll just talk you very quickly. You want it, I'll send it through. Just send me a message and I'll send it through. And it's called the obituaries exercise, and I actually got part of it from Dr. John DeMartini. And the first exercise, and this is really powerful, so gift yourself some time because it's not something that you can do in a hurry. You're going to write your obituary as at the end of your life. So not now, but as at the end of your life. And you're going to write it from the perspective of 3 different people. So a friend, a colleague, and a family member, because we are different. We're different personalities in these different environments. And write it as you want it to be written. What did you do to inspire or empower these people? What did they do because of you? And what you'll find is with all 3 of those people, there'll be a little bit of a theme running through it. And that will give you a really good indication of what your purpose is. And if you're ready to step up after that, then the most beautiful exercise, don't try and do this one first, it's too much of a brain mess. You're going to write your obituary from 200 to 1,000 years after you've died. Because most of us are only remembered 2 generations back. So when you write this, the best way I can recommend that you do it is that you write it as though it's National Aaron Day, National Amit Day, National John Day, International Amit Aaron and John Day. Okay, why is the world celebrating that you were here 200 to 1,000 years after you've gone? And this is a really powerful exercise. You will really start to get an understanding of the impact you want to make in the world. And it doesn't matter if you haven't made it already, but it will give you a little bit of an indication of where you want to go and what you want to do with your life. So if anybody wants that, let me know. It's too long to go through here. It's quite a lengthy exercise, but I'll happily send that through to anybody who wants it. So come and see me afterwards. So has anybody who was it didn't have their hand up, didn't know what their purpose was? Most people put their hands up. I think there's only one or two that didn't. So everybody has an idea of their purpose. Yes? No? No idea? Aaron has no idea of his purpose. Liar, liar, your pants are on fire. Yes? Yes? So you didn't have a purpose? You didn't get a purpose from that exercise? You did? Awesome. Okay. Yes. Okay. So, and it will evolve. I mean, my purpose originally was to eliminate poverty. And it was heavy. And it was because I was with an organisation, and that's what we were doing, eliminating poverty. But we got a double negative there. We're eliminating, which is negative, and it's poverty that is heavy. And I couldn't feel how I could do it, so I kept changing it to being instrumental in helping it, making it happen. But I couldn't see how it could happen. And it was only when I became a consultant for Bob Proctor from The Secret and in his Thinking to Results program, and I actually did the program myself, that I changed it to inspiring and empowering others to create individual and global abundance so that everyone in the world has access to everything they need and want. Oh my goodness, what a different energy that is. Yes? And immediately it felt doable. Now with Bob, we have to have a goal card, and you have to put the date that you achieve that. Now I didn't write the date wrote itself, and it was 2030, which isn't very far away. And yet it feels doable. It really feels doable. And interestingly enough, if we have a look at the UN goals, the United Nations goals, their goal is to eliminate poverty by 2030. So we're more in tune than I thought we were. However, I do need to do a bit of consultancy work with them to change their eliminating poverty, because they're going to make it hard work. And let's make it fun and easy. So your mission may well evolve, and that's okay. Mine is evolving all the time, and I'm finding different things that are adding to it and adding to it. And that's fine. But when you have a mission and purpose, you actually start to live life. Life has meaning, and life is meant to have meaning. But most of us, not so much in Bali, I know, but most of us just go through the 9-to-5 drudge. It's a routine. It's habitual. We don't live. We just exist. So when you find your purpose in life, you actually do start to live. You really do. So I really encourage you, if you haven't already got your purpose, I really encourage you to take a bit of time and do those exercises and just discover what lights you up, what gets your passion going. Social impact and realizing the impact that you have. We tend to think that I'm just one person and I can't do anything. I think it was the Dalai Lama, and it would certainly fit with his sense of humor, who said that if you think you're too small to make a difference, try sleeping in a room with a mosquito. Let that one sink in, yes? Because it doesn't get smaller than a mosquito, but it has the power to keep you up all night if you know it's in the room. Okay. So we do have a lot of power. Now we are impacting people all the time. Just in interaction with people, we're interacting with people. So when we become aware that we have that impact, we can then choose whether we make that a good impact or a bad impact. And those of you, the parents who've got children, you really are key impactors. We think we can't influence people, but we're impacting and influencing people all the time. So the key really to influencing and impacting is actually just to be aware that that is what you're doing. Every time we're doing something, we are impacting or influencing in some way. Even when it's just getting kids breakfast in the morning, we're impacting them. So this is very powerful. So when we start to become aware of it and we become a little bit more conscious of what kind of impact do I want to make? And the impact I want to make is that I want to inspire and empower others. So if I'm a miserable cow and I'm bitching and griping, then I'm not going to do that. And the only way I can do that is to remember that this is what I'm here for. And when I do that, it raises my energy, and then I know that I'm impacting people on a higher level. So it's really about being conscious and being aware of what it is that you're doing, and is this the impact that you actually want to have? So awareness is the key to everything. But just be aware that we actually are already making a much more of an impact than we realize we're doing. And those of you, I know most of you here have got your own businesses, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But we really have an opportunity to make a huge impact. We really do. And Bali is a beautiful place to make an impact. There's a lot of people who want to make a difference in the world, and Bali is a fantastic place to start. And Sonora in particular, I think this is entrepreneur capital here. So, yes, just think about what impact it is that you really want to have. A little bit of a cartwheel. Did you see that? Should we do that one again? Oh, hang on. We have to go back. Hang on. Oh, how do I go back on this one? I was using the mouse. One of the reasons I came to Bali is I actually want staff to do all this sort of stuff for me. So when I'm doing these things, I just have somebody presses the button for me. There we go. All right. Thank you, Francesca. Don't go away. Just no, it's all right. I'm joking. Oh, no, that won't work either. I keep pressing the wrong buttons, then I go backwards. Oh, there we go. And that wasn't me. I didn't touch it. What I've discovered is that the more I raise my energy levels, the more it interferes with technology. I have the most incredible challenges with technology. My computer guy has never heard. I'll tell him what's going on. He's like, I've never come across that before. So that's my norm. That's why I need somebody else to handle that side of it. But that's okay. So where do we start with making an impact? And it's easy to say, I'm going to go over here and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to go over here and I'm going to do this. But the only place to start is in here. We have to work on ourselves first, because we cannot change anything else. Ironically, we can, but not intentionally. The only way we change anything else is to change ourselves. Because when we change ourselves, we shift the energy. And I'm really all about energy. Sorry, Aaron, I know it's Ubud stuff, but I really work very much with the energy. What does the energy feel like? And this is something that I ask myself frequently. What is the energy here? And how am I contributing to that energy, or am I able to change that energy? And I really do live a lot of my life that way. So we have to start with harnessing our own mind. And the most powerful thing with the mind is our attitude. We are 100% in control of our attitude. And our attitude is 100% in control of whether we're successful or not. And the attitude can, they can go up and down. We all have moods and we all can change. But if you have a positive attitude, generally, you will get good results in life. Because whether you like it or not, what we look for is what we find. So if we're looking for something negative, if we're looking for something that's gone wrong, we're going to find it every single time. However, if we turn around and we start looking for things that are going right and things that are working well, we'll start to find more of those. It's one of those laws of the universe. Don't mess with it. It just works. Just let it do its own job. But it really does work in another way within our own brain, is that when we make a decision to do something, to focus on our attitude or whatever. Is anybody familiar with the RAS, the reticular activating system? Yeah, anybody not? Okay, it's a little clump of brain cells back. See, not guilty, I didn't touch it. I didn't see help. What was I saying? Oh, a little clump of brain cells at the back here. And what it does is it helps us focus on things. So if you've ever decided you're going to buy a brand new car of a certain type, you will see that type, that colour car everywhere. For the girls amongst us, anybody who's ever been pregnant, when you're pregnant, every woman in the world is pregnant at varying stages, like they just suddenly arrived at 8 months pregnant. They've always been there, but we don't notice them because it's not in our RAS, our reticular activating system. So when we make a decision to change our attitude or make any decision, we will start to find those things that are already here. We just haven't noticed because that's not where our focus has been. So we can change our attitude just by asking our questions, what is it I want to find? If you want to find crap, go ahead, because you will find it. Guaranteed you will find it. If you're looking for it, you'll find it. Seek and you shall find. Okay, so just make sure you're thinking about what it is you're looking for. Because if you're not getting the results you want, you might want to change your focus on what it is you're looking for. Because the other interesting thing about the attitude and whether we're looking for good or bad is two things. One is that nothing is good or bad until we label it so. And we only label it based on our past experience. And there's two things here. One is that if somebody labels something good, you can guarantee there's somebody else who labels it bad. That's why we have wars and things. Yeah, because we don't agree on these things. The other thing is that if we have something that is good, I'm going to put the microphone down. It's another one of those laws of the universe. Don't mess with it. It knows what it's doing. It will always happen. So if you have something that feels really bad, stop and ask yourself, okay, if it's this bad, there has to be something equally good somewhere. Let's go find it. Because it is there, guaranteed. And one of my taglines used to be turning challenges into opportunities, putting the fun back into life, okay, or making change fun. So really focus on what is your attitude. Is your attitude what's going to take you to where you want to be? You know, they say attitude determines your altitude. So if you really want to fly high, make sure you've got a good attitude. Attitude is probably the most single defining factor in whether you're successful or not. And the beautiful thing is your choice. It's not about what you're able to do. We can all control our attitude. Any questions? You're a very quiet group. How am I doing for time? Question?
Could you explain a little bit more about the mirroring? I call it the mirroring effect, but I think I was trying to understand what you meant. You know when you said there's something bad on one side and something good?
Yep.
But how would you explain that in lay terms?
Okay.
For me, because I do agree with you. I just want to know, like, if you can give me an example, maybe in your personal life or something.
Oh, 101 examples. I mean, the classic example was I had chronic fatigue syndrome. I was actually training to be a physical training instructor in the Reserve Army in the UK. So I was pretty fit, and all of a sudden I couldn't even walk upstairs. And what was really funny was my mother actually said to me, "Oh, one day, love, you'll be grateful for this." And I went, "You never did parenting very well, get out of here." But she was right. This was the best thing that ever happened to me. It turned my life around. And I'm doing what I'm doing now purely because of that. Now, when I was, you're not actually diagnosed with chronic fatigue because there's no definitive test, but you have tests for everything else, and when nothing else comes up positive, then it has to be that. And they said to me, they said that 80%, 10% will commit suicide, 80% will survive, and 10% or learn to manage it, and 10% will recover. And I immediately went, I'm in that top 10%. Okay, and it took a while. I had to learn to manage it before I could get to that point. But it totally turned my life around. I actually believe that I would probably be dead by now if I hadn't had chronic fatigue. And if you read my book, Finding the Gorgeous in You, it tells you a little bit about that story. And I really believe that I got chronic fatigue was because I needed to slow down. I needed to go in here. When we're busy, it's because we're avoiding what's in here. And the busier you are, the more you need to go in and work on yourself. Okay, and this isn't just from me. I've got 13 years as a therapist experience, and I see this with my clients all the time. So I know that that's how it works. So when we take that time to go in, if I had got cancer, which is the normal, I would have fought cancer. Because that's what you do. I'm going to fight cancer. Okay, and I would have put a lot of energy into fighting it. When what my body needed was to go in. So I got to the point where I couldn't hear, I couldn't bear noise. I couldn't bear light. I couldn't have been in here. The noise and the light would have been too much. I couldn't read because I couldn't focus. There comes to a point there's only one place to go. That's in here. But it was hard for me because I really had to learn to slow down. You know, I lived life at 100. Somebody used to say, God, you bulldoze your way through life. And that's what I did. Nothing got in my way. I just kept going, kept going, kept going. And my body was saying, well, you slow down. I broke my ankle in 2 places and dislocated it. And I would walk 1.5 miles on crutches to go to the gym, to work out, and walk 1.5 miles back on my crutches to stay fit. Because I had so much energy, I needed to burn it off. But if a broken leg isn't telling you to slow down, I really don't know what is. So is that example good enough? It really was. I would actually say that the good was even better than the bad, but I know by the laws of the universe that doesn't work. Any more questions? Okay, Lisi, she's gone. Okay, just to finish off quickly, head on purpose. And the first thing we need to do is to decide whether we want a business to make us lots of money or whether we want a business to make a difference in the world. And ironically, when we make a business to make a difference in the world, we probably make more money than we will if we make a business to make money. So what I invite you to do, those of you that are already running a business, is to actually start and think about how is my business impacting the world? Because we have two social entrepreneurs. We have corporate responsibility, so we have a lot of businesses that set up their business to make money that they can then donate to a cause or a charity or whatever. For me, a social entrepreneur is somebody who creates a business that is designed to make a difference in the world. Do you understand the difference? So one is a business that makes enough money to be able to go and make a difference in the world, and one is that it actually impacts the world. Now, my business, I think of my business as a social impact business because it's about changing lives. Now, I do that within my job, and it's about changing lives one at a time or in small groups, but working with people to get that ripple effect, because I can't reach the whole world. And if you remember my mission, it was to inspire and empower others. So every person I work with, I am then able to know that that effect is going to ripple out to people who are around them. Now, the other thing that I do, and this is something else, this is coming perhaps more from a business that is donating, is that for every full-paying client I get, I donate $100 US dollars to an NGO or a charity that empowers other people in some way. I also, for every 5 new clients, full-paying clients, I donate a whole 6-month training package to an NGO, a non-government organization. And the reason I do that is twofold. One is I've been a chairperson of an NGO, and I know that they live in lack because funding is always a battle. We're always chasing the next dollar. Where's the money coming from? We can't make long-term plans because we get money for 6 months, 2 years, 3 years maximum. So NGOs generally are really struggling for money. The other thing that with NGOs is that the majority of people who work with them are people who don't value themselves enough. These are the people that will put themselves behind everybody else. They will look after everybody before they look after themselves. So my thinking around this is that if I can support those people to become more empowered, that will empower the NGOs. But the knock-on effect, and this is where I really want to make the difference, the knock-on effect there is that the people they're working with, who are the most disadvantaged people in the world, in whatever area it is they're working in, they will start to feel the effect of that. So that is how I'm working my business to make an impact in the world. So it's making the business, working through the business, and then using the business to be able to support others. I also here, I was just talking to Jacqueline, since I've been here, I'm doing all sorts of things. One of the differences we can make is very simple. I belong to Trash Heroes here, and I come down and I clean the beach up every Monday night. And people say to me, why do you do it? We need to deal with the cause. And yes, we do need to deal with the cause. And people are doing that, but it's a process. And we had a beautiful nun where I lived in Port Hedland in Australia, and she would go out every day and pick up rubbish for half an hour every day. And they'd say to her, why are you doing this? And she said, because if you think about toilet training a toddler, it doesn't happen. You don't take it to the toilet once and it's done. You have to keep doing it. And she said, you just have to keep doing it. And this week, I was so pleased, you probably noticed, that we actually had more locals cleaning up the beach with us today, on Monday, than we had expats and tourists. So we're starting to make an impact. And so many times people say, why are you doing it, why are you doing it, why are you doing it? It doesn't matter, it's got to be cleared up. We just go out every week and we pick it up. So we're starting to make an impact. Yes, it's a small impact, but any impact is better than no impact. So, thank you. Okay, well, I think that's pretty much from Elise. Any questions? I believe we have a question and answer time. I have no idea what the time is. Yes. 20 minutes. Oh, my goodness. That means you have to ask questions. Go on. You got a question? Somebody else had a question. You got a question?
No, I don't have a question.
Yeah, just hold it really close. Things on the bottom.
Look, the truth is I don't have a question.
Do what Aaron says and make one up. So that's what Aaron says. Just make one up.
You can come back to me. I might make up a question, but let's pass it around.
Okay. Yeah, just hold it really close.
Okay, Lisa.
Put it in your chin. Eat it. Just rest it in your chin like this. Seriously.
Okay. No?
Yep.
Yes?
Yep. Yes.
Okay. Okay, thank you, Lisa, for this. I was going to ask you, what do you recommend? Could you give us any suggestions in a morning routine to bring joy throughout the day?
Yeah, again, that's something that I have in my book, Finding the Gorgeous in You, which is just really a whole series of little exercises to help you to get that. I have a couple of things. I have my commitment rings, and the last commitment ring is to bring joy and fun into my life. I make that commitment to myself every day, as well as the other commitments I do. I also, as part of my meditation process, and I really, really recommend that you get meditation as part of your daily routine, even if it's just for 5 minutes a day. There's a really good book, and they were actually running a course here, and I forgot all about it, and I think it's probably been and gone. And it's called Search Inside Yourself, and it's by a Google engineer with an Asian name. I can't remember that. Charlie Meng Tang, something like that. Oh, yeah, whatever. Anyway. And he's a Google engineer, but he spent a lot of time in the East learning meditation and doing a lot of stuff. And his title at Google is Chief Happiness Engineer. And that's what he does. And he goes around, they run workshops and stuff. And there was one happening here, but I didn't hear any more about it. And what he said is that 5 minutes a day, and he said 5 minutes a day because he meditates with his 4-year-old daughter, and he said 5 minutes is as much as an engineer and a 4-year-old can manage in any one time. So putting a bit of fun back in it. What I found for me, this was I spent 20 years trying to learn to meditate. I even went to China, and we would meditate for 2 hours at a time, and you get to that point, you just think, oh, I'm there. No, I'm not. Okay? And what I found was that when I started meditating for 5 minutes every day, something shifts. Sometimes I meditate for 40 minutes, but I will never consciously meditate for 40 minutes. Because if I do, I'm clock watching, I haven't got time, how long have I been here, whatever. So I meditate, give myself 5 minutes every day, and it's the repetition that makes the difference with meditation. It really is. It's not trying to do it go into a class once or twice a week and doing it for an hour or 2 hours. It really is that 5 minutes every day. And the other thing he said, that which really, really helped me, is that every time you have a thought coming into your head, when we're learning to meditate, we immediately attach ourselves to that thought. Will you get out? I'm trying to meditate. Go away. Whatever. And what he said is that imagine each thought, and that every time you let it go, imagine it as a repetition at the gym. So there are times when I can do the whole 5 minutes, and it's just bang, 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 bang. But instead of coming away going, that didn't work, I come away going, wow, that was a good workout, which sets me up for the next time, which means I'm going to have a good session next time, as opposed to, I can't do this. Then I go into the next session, I wonder if it's going to work this time. So play around with it, but I really do recommend 5 minutes every day. And I actually usually do it morning and night. So that's good. Does that answer your question?
Thank you.
Cool.
May I ask a question?
You may.
Okay. I had two, but the main one is, because I know your background and the amazing investment you've made in coaching and learning and growing as a person, which is amazing. But what would you say is the biggest thing you're learning recently that's really made a difference for you and the people you're helping?
That's right. I'm just making sure my computer doesn't go forward. My phone computer over there might go walk about. Thank you for the question, Aaron. The one thing the most recently, there's been a few little things that are not really tangible, and it's really hard to explain it, but shifts in energy that allow me to see things in a different way. Certainly here, getting back to doing my Qigong every day is really, really powerful. Just allowing myself, whether you do yoga or Qigong, get that energy. Qigong is a type of Tai Chi, so exercise, traditional Chinese medicine exercise. So it works with the meridians, the energy channels through the body, because the reason we get ill or the reason we get stuck is because those channels, just like our veins and arteries, get blocked. The problem is we can't, if you cut the body open, you can't see them, so we don't know that they're blocked. So Qigong, Tai Chi, yoga also will help to clear those energy channels. So by doing that every morning, my meditation and the Qigong are probably the things that have brought me back to balance, because when I was traveling a lot, things like that just went by the by. But certainly engaging with another coach, I really do believe that everybody needs a coach, whatever that is. And I currently have 2 coaches at the moment, Aaron being one of them, because we all get stuck with our blind spots. And that's been really helpful to be challenged to actually look at things from a different perspective. And trust me, Aaron and I look at things from a very different perspective. So there's a lot of challenging going on. But it's good, because that's where the growth happens. That's where the growth happens. Thank you. Second question.
You use the word gorgeous a lot. So what was the origin and what does it mean to you?
You're going to love this. This is confession time. I have a belief that I'm not very good with names. And I've actually proven that not to be true. However, I'm also very lazy. So what happened, when I was chairperson of this organisation I was telling you about, the Well Women's Centre, we had an event, and this girl walked in, and you know when you just go totally blank? And I went, oh my God, what's her name? And they were like, hi, gorgeous, how are you? And didn't think any more about it. And she came up to me at the end of that session, and she said, you have no idea what you've done for me. She said, it took everything I had in me to get here today. She said, I haven't been out for 3 weeks. It took everything I had. She said, I walked in, and you said, hello, gorgeous. She said, I felt like I was a queen. And I went, how easy is it to make somebody feel good? So it's become my tagline. If anybody gets a voice message from me or email or anything, it's all hello, gorgeous. And we had a local radio station at home, and I happened to listen. I don't listen very often, but I happened to be listening one day. And the DJ said, oh, she said, I'm not going to give you this number. She said, but I love to ring it, and I hope nobody answers because the voice message says, hello, gorgeous, how are you today? So yeah, so confession time, it's because I'm not good with names. But the impact that it has made has been phenomenal. It really, really has. I've had people stop and say, why? And then they get all coy and stuff. But just to make people think, oh, somebody thinks so. You know, and they'll come back and say, oh, well, you need to put your glasses on. I said, the gorgeous is in there somewhere. We just got to look for it. Because we've all got it in us. Yeah? That answer your question? Any more questions?
Actually, it's not a question.
Yep.
It's admiring you since the first day I met you here. Like, you have a very positive energy and so energetic. Like, wow, this girl is amazing. I mean, you give impact in your appearance and how you talk, how you appreciate people, and when you call me gorgeous, I feel like, wow. Thank you for that. It will be a memory that I have about you and about our community here. And since this is my last day, I would love to say thank you for all of you. It's been such a great month to know you all. I'm going to miss you all too.
Yeah.
But I will come back.
Yeah.
I still work for this company. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Santi. And that's just a classic example of how we can impact people. It hasn't cost me anything, but I've impacted somebody. So we can all do that. We all have the power to do that. And what I'd like to just very quickly just touch on, when you say about me being bright and bubbly, the opposite side of that is very down and dark. I can be very down and dark. I can bring a room down just as quickly as I can bring a room up. But I make a conscious effort, a conscious decision, that when I come to something like this, my energy is going to be high.
That makes a difference.
Yeah, it does
Big
make the difference. Yeah, because I have a choice. I have the power to choose whether I want to be miserable or I want to be happy. I don't wake up like this every day. There are days when I do, but I have a routine that I go through that allows me to reframe and set my brain for the day. It's not. I'm not automatically like this. I'm really not. I do have to work at it. There's times when it does happen.